Hi everyone, today I'm going to record something quickly which is a bit of a personal video because it's about me, and I think these are really great things sometimes because it's very important to tell you stuff that happens in my life, but mostly if there is a message or a theme or something that I've learned as a result. Now, the thing that I want to talk to you about really is probably if you have followed me, you would know that I have a 92-year-old mum and she has early Alzheimer's, and this is a real problem for the family because we lost my dad to this particular disease. So it's sad that mum has also got it. But the difference, I think, is she is responding very well to medication, which he never did. Now, she was actually living independently until very recently, but in the middle of November she had a fall, and this was a critical fall in the sense that it had quite a severe impact. And that's because she broke her right arm. Now, not only is that a problem because for obvious reasons she would have been in a lot of pain and also had tremendous difficulties, because if you can't use your strong arm to be able to do things like writing and so forth, it's very debilitating, isn't it? And that was another thing that we spotted. Very quickly we realised that this was actually going to have a cataclysmic effect on her rather than just a moderating one. And this came about quite quickly because the doctors warned us when she was in A&E and then the acute assessment unit for a few days after that it's possible she might now become a bit more frail or that life would have to change. And whilst I knew that intellectually, my heart wasn't listening, through my head, which was clearly processing that still. And it wasn't really until a few weeks later that we realised it was best to shut down her flat because she could no longer live independently. Now, there's a couple of things I want to say, really. What I had signed up for a number of years ago was power of attorney, and if you have ever contemplated this for a family member, I would ask you to reflect after listening to this video. The nub of it is basically that securing power of attorney is not a complicated process, and we'll put a link in this video for you to be able to do it. It's actually a government website, quite straightforward to download the relevant form, whether you want it for health and well-being or for finance, and ideally by a certain age you probably need both. But I had said yes to this when my father was still alive and he died 5 years ago. So the upshot was actually a lot of implications, or I have been doing a lot of decision making, monitoring, overseeing and care. And this, if you like, is not only time consuming, but sometimes I just want to share with you the most difficult decisions you have to make can come at you when you are already up to here, because it just seems to be sod's law that life is busy. So the first thing that I would advise you is, yes, by all means do consider taking it on. And I definitely think when you know your loved one is beginning to become ill in any way, it's vital, because at some point you are going to get asked, do you have a power of attorney? Because we need somebody to be able to make a decision. And if your mother or parent isn't able to do that anymore, it's worth really thinking in advance of that. But the principal point is to suggest to you, please don't try and do this on your own. In other words, I am the primary attorney, so I'm pretty much the only one on both of the forms. And that meant there was a great deal of pressure on me. So I was fielding calls from the hospital, calls from the care. I was also talking to social services because they were checking whether or not mum had a sufficient care package, and it goes on. You don't know what it's taking. You don't know how tired you're getting. You don't know how much frustration, pressure and struggle it's also making for you. Now that brings me to the second point. In our situation, things did pan out. We did sort out her flat. She came out of care and stayed with me for a while, all over Christmas, in fact the whole of the last month. And in an extraordinary decision that my brother, who lives in Spain, has recently made, she has now gone to live with him. So even the responsibility for the power of attorney has dropped away from me more than perhaps it has in what I would say is now the whole of the last 10 years. I do think the second point I want to make to you is whenever something really significant happens in your life, do take time to process. Just allow some time to decompress and come back down. So everybody, I just wanted to share that and just say to you with hand on heart, power of attorney is a really important thing to do for your family, but don't do it alone. And you know what, my situation is coming right. I very much hope that you're not facing difficulties, but if you are, reach out for advice or help. And I do hope everything is safe and well in your world. Take care. I'll be on very soon.